Hey guys, Zect here and welcome to a new video. Today we will go over the Succession Hashashin changes that were released on Global Labs recently. I think you can call it a mini rework because Sakash got a lot of changes and I'm super excited for it, and we will go over all the changes today. So first off, we will start with a rough overview what got changed in terms of buffs and nerfs. And so if you're just interested in seeing the numbers, what got changed and what got added and what got removed, you just need to see the first video. It's minutes of the video, and we will go in more detail in every skill and what got changed in a bit. So starting off with the buffs, first off, our Hourglass of Defiance was pretty much our back teleport tornado that you could put up and TP back to if you want. This cooldown got lowered to 25 seconds from 30 seconds. That is a good change because you can have it up more often now, and the time between tornado disappear and you can put it up again is just 5 seconds instead of 10. Really nice change, I like this. Moreover, we have a succession version of this skill now, Hourglass of Defiance. I will show this in after we are done here. Next up, we have Prime Perch. That got changed from hit damage as 1609 times 1 up to 6 hits to 1609 times 6. What that means, I will explain this a bit later. That's definitely a really good change. PvP damage reduction rate also got buffed from 62.3 to 54.4%, so roughly like 8-ish% PvP damage buff. But however, the skill will be definitely way stronger that because of this, how they change the hit, how the hits apply, but I will explain this a bit later. Next, we have Hourglass of Death, what is one of our block jump TPs, you could say. It's they also changed the hit damage 1082 times 1 up to 5 hits to 1082 times 5. So there's also a mechanic change in how the hit applies. We will go over this later as well. The PvP damage reduction rate also changed from 50% to 35%. So we have more damage, like 15%. That's a lot. I don't know how strong the skill will be actually. We have to see when it comes live, but yeah, really nice change for this as well. They also changed the activation speed of it. I will showcase this in a bit. This skill is a bit faster now when it comes to the actual block jump part. There's also a succession version of the skill now. I will also showcase this later. This pretty much just adds, I think, a bit more damage, and you have like a bit wider hit area. So the next is Haladi Throw. This is a skill that's not often used really. Like, I personally didn't really use that too often. It's a range stiffen. However, it's unsafe and it was a bit clunky and slow. They increased the throwing speed. They say slightly here. To be fair, I think it's definitely more than slightly. You definitely feel this. It's way faster. And I think maybe it's more viable now to use it as a fast catch from range. The next skill we have Prime Arts Dominion. The frontal guard effect has applied before the attack. That's really good. That's really nice. So before the float attack hits, it's a frontal guard now, so it's a half safe CC. However, the CC itself is still unsafe. Still, this is a really good change. I really like this. And moreover, you can add a tier 2 level skill add-on effect. Before that, you couldn't put any add-ons on Arts Dominion. It's a really strong skill, and probably most people will use that now because it's a really nice skill for combos or engages. Really nice. I really like that. That also applies to the non-prime version that you can put a skill on add-on on this. However, the frontal guard effect just applies to the prime Arts Dominion. Next, we have Piercing Tornado, one of my absolute favorites. We got a super armor effect on Piercing Tornado. Piercing Tornado, for the people that don't know the skill, it's a multi-hit CC that pierces frontal guards. So it's pretty much like the Sin Splitter from Awakening, just it has one more hit, and it has an SA now. It's insanely strong. This skill will be one of the main engages now. It's a really nice CC, and the best part about it, since it's not a succession skill, we actually have also access to this in Awakening Kit. So if you pick Sin Splitter as your core now, you have 2 Sin Splitter-like skills that can pierce frontal guard, multi-hit CCs that are completely protected. a really strong change in my opinion. This is one of the absolute nutty nasty things. I really love that. And Succession Hush definitely needed that, like a safe CC as an engage, and this is probably one of the best tools they could have given us here. So really happy about this. Prime Chosen Blades, the next skill, they added a super armor effect until the last hit. So they removed the stiffen, but we will come to this in the nerf paths, in the nerfs part. Like the last hit is a knockdown. So when the tornado explodes, and until that hit, we have a super armor effect now. You can cancel it before the last hit, so you can use it for trading now, or just to linger as a. It's really nice. I really like that change. It also gives us a bit more stability when it comes to combos or following ups and on stuff, because everything was really unsafe in the Hush kit until this changes now. And I think in the current meta where everyone is super protected, he definitely needed that. The next is we have the Minion Slash is one of our bumps. To be fair, I think the Minion Slash was not really used. Most people use Prospective Blade just because of the SA, and also it was decent damage. They changed, they added a 25% crit chance to players only. There is already a crit chance on it, but that only applies to PvE monsters. And they buffed the PvP reduction rate from 64% to 55%, so 9% damage increase there. I have to test it out when it comes live, if it's really viable. Compared to Prospective Blade, the skill has a 9% minus reduction rate when it comes to evasion. So for Succession, it might be actually viable to pick in the future, since we have a lot more protections now in the kit, but we have to see how strong it will be in the end. The next is also Prospective Blade, and this is also the reason why I think most people will still stick with Prospective Blade as a rebum skill, because they changed they buffed the PvP reduction rate from 54% to 45%, so also 9% damage increase here. Really nice. That skill was already kind of good. Now it's even stronger. I really like this change. Next, we have a Mirage Assault. It's also one of our rebum skills. When it first came out, it was really broken, and they nerfed it a lot, but now they're buffing it again. PvP reduction rate from 63 to 44.5%. So really nice damage buff. It should definitely hit way harder now after this change. Next we have Prime Rich Reaver, what is our self buff for crit rate, combo skill, and also SA traits. They buffed the damage by 10%, roughly 9 point something, so roughly 10% damage increase will definitely help with trading and comboing. Really nice like this change. So overall, just a lot of damage buffs here. I really like to see that. Next we have Pilgrim Sands. What's our passives? So we had 12 AP and 10 evasion. That changed completely. We got 8 more AP than before, so we have 20 AP now, and we got 7% attack speed. 7% attack speed for Suck and Awakening is both really good, especially for comboing, for Succession even more when it comes to just applying damage real quick and get out again. But we will come to this a bit later, what I think about the passive changes. The next we have Sandrope. What's our iframe dash? They increased the all evasion rate by to 9% instead of 6%, so we have 3% more. However, we lose the 10% evasion, so that's a bit of a trade-off here. But we get more evasion with our dash. Next up, we come to the nerfs, or the things we lost during this patch. So Prime Doomslash, the frontal guard before the attack disappeared. To be fair, I think that's not as bad. It's not bad at all. I think most people didn't even use the full frontal guard of Prime Doomslash, because you could use a cancelled version of it where it applies the hits and the CC instantly after like something like a dash, or even like you could activate the last hit in your combos and stuff like this. So removing the frontal guard here and adding it to Darl's Dominion is absolutely okay. I will still list it here because this is something technically we lost. It's the same with Quicksand. The knockdown effect that was applied on the last hit is gone now. It's only PvE. Instead, we got the super armor on Piercing Tornado, and here again, it's absolutely worth it to have the super armor on Piercing Tornado instead of the knockdown. Sometimes you get people with that, but Piercing Tornado is way more powerful, so yeah, I definitely like that. Prime Chosen Blade, they got rid of the stiffen in PvP, so there was a stiffen hit before before the skill applied, and this is gone now because we got the SA on it. Absolutely okay for Succession. I think the Awakening on a normal version is still as before, so that didn't change. I know you can use this in Awakening for some decent long combos, so this is definitely still possible. So with the passives, we lost 10% all evasion rate, and on top of that, as you can see in the right part of the nerfs, during PvP, the damage received from other classes has been increased by an average of 3.25%. So this is, from my perspective, they're definitely nerfing the tankiness of Hush and buffing the offensive capabilities. And the biggest changes for the PvP damage nerfs is from ranges and witch-shots, so witch and ranges. Rangers got a 9.74 increased damage, and witch-shots are 11.36%, what is a lot. So we have to be careful more for Suckcaster, like range skills, Suck Ranger range skills. So those classes will definitely deal way more damage now. All the other changes are like from 1 to 4%. This is still okay, I guess. You should not feel this too hard. But yeah, overall, the tankiness of Hush is definitely lowered by a lot. Especially also when you lost the 10% all evasion rate. If you run evasion, technically you just lost 7% because you got 3% more on your dash. However, even though you dash pretty much all the time and you have it up or like a lot, like mostly you have this evasion buff up, sometimes you will not have it up. For example, you get CC'd in a knockdown, someone CC's you with a knockdown, and the 10 seconds, it was 10 seconds, however, still sometimes you will run out of the buff, either if you're trading or if you get CC'd in your combo, and then you will stand there with 0% evasion rate, and this will be definitely noticeable. This will be 100% noticeable. So, in my opinion, when it comes to evasion versus DR on Hush, DR is way more viable now as in terms of gear. If you're already running DR on Hush, I think the evasion changes will not affect you too much. However, you have to be way more careful now of Witchers and Rangers and also some other classes. But evasion Hush, I think it's still viable. From a console perspective, I actually think it isn't, because on console we are missing a lot of things like artifacts. We are missing C20. We are missing the health journals. Like this is just 3 things that would provide way more tankiness that we don't have. And in terms of AP, so offensive powers, our AP the geared players here, they run around the 301 to 314 or 15 AP. So this is definitely noticeable. And I think with those changes on console right now, evasion Hashashin with a normal AP build is probably less effective than a DR Hashashin with a similar build, just because you get so much more offensive capabilities now, and just killing your opponent faster than he kill you is probably more viable now than just try to get more tanky with evasion. We have to see how this will turn out for us console players when we get all the missing things, like artifacts, for example. They're huge. C20 is huge, and the health journals as well. But I'm actually not too sure. I have to test it when stuff comes out, but I might think that, especially for Succession, DR could be the more viable option here. For Awakening, to be fair, I think for Awakening gets hit a bit more harder because Awakening has less iframes. Your iframe dash is shorter, has a shorter iframe time. You're more reliant on your SAs, and that means you will receive more damage. You're also slow-ish compared to Sakash. Like, the Sakash is just a bit more fast-paced than Awakening is. So, yeah. I don't know. I think for Awakening, those changes definitely hit harder tankiness-wise compared to Suck. I think for Succession, it's absolutely fine. You have so many iframes. You can linger your iframes longer. You can dodge a lot of damage. I think for Succession, those changes make sense. For Awakening, I don't know how to feel about it yet. But that being said, we will jump into our skills now, and I will showcase everything what got changed in specifics. So first off, we have the Perch skill, and like I said before, the normal Perch still have this one hit max 6 hits. So what this basically means, from how I understand it, it's for example, the skill is really long, right? And it kind of deals his hits in intervals, and now it applies all hits no matter where you stand. So you get the full damage of Perch in the Prime version, no matter where your target hits, even if it's at the edge there or at the start. So this is definitely a good change. That means all hits are applied at the same time as soon as you get a hit with that skill, what will increase the damage of Perch by a lot, especially when you get a CC with it or use it as a re-CC, since it has an air attack on it. Air attack is a huge modifier. It has a 100% crit rate. It will be a really strong skill. Like, it will be really good for comboing and for catching people, also trading a bit, because it's fast and it's a mid-range skill. So you can definitely trade it in some essays from other people from a bit of a distance. So really nice change. I absolutely like this. Next, the Piercing Tornado essay, obviously, absolute my favorite. You can see absolute essay here. I think there should be no gap. Obviously, I have to test it and see if there's really no gap. You can cancel it with the suck, so there should be no gap in it. You can cancel it with the iframe. It's like I said, it's a multi-hit CC that can pierce through frontal guards. It's really nice. It's pretty much like second Sin Splitter. And giving Succession Hush a strong engage like this will help him a lot with engaging 1v1s especially, but also large scale. This skill is absolutely nice, and I can't wait to actually get this live. So next skill, we have the Succession version of Hourglass of Death. So there's not a Succession skill you can spec. You can just see by pressing LTX or the equivalent to PS input to see the Succession version of the skill. The Suck version just has more damage than the Awakening version. So like with Perch, they also made that all hits apply at the same time, and you have more area now, and the skill is more it's faster when you activate it. So as you can see, you have like the little animation from the Alster minion a bit. Like, this is the area where the hits will apply. It's still unsafe. It's an unsafe bound. You have to be careful where you use it. How often? It is way faster now. It's more viable and it's more damage. I really like this change compared to the old one. And you can still cancel it midair, or you can cancel it into Piercing Tornado, what is in my opinion, one of the craziest engages now. Frank, when you go like this from an iframe into multi-hit SA CC, what is insanely good. It's pretty much one of the, it's crazy good block jump skill now. If you use those two skills together, will be absolutely nice to use those. Can't wait to test it. So that being said, for the Succession version of the Hourglass of Death, we have Chosen Blade next. So as you can see, the stiffness only applies to PvE now. We have super armor effect on it until the last hit. So until the explosion hits, you get the SA. It's definitely more viable now. You can use it in combos or even to catch people off guard with the knockdown. It still locks you in place, so you have to be careful when it comes to positioning. But you can also use it to just combo, or after a Rich Reaver, you can use the SA and cancel it if you just want to use it for trading. Or after a Perch catch, you can actually, maybe it's viable for combos now, because of the SA. If you use it after Perch, it's really fast, and you can apply the knockdown CC with the tornadoes on top. It's really good. It's really nice damage. I really like this change. I think the stiffen in PV in Succession, the stiffen was not that much used anyway, so I think losing the stiffen is kind of whatever. So we lost the knockdown on Quicksand, but that's okay. Like, the skill is still the same, but the knockdown last hit is gone. To be fair, I don't mind much. Sometimes you catch people with it. To be fair, most people that are good and know the Sakash or the Hashashin in general, they know that there's a knockdown on the last hit. They try to avoid it. It's also not hard to avoid because the skill is really long. But yeah, losing that is not that big of a deal in my opinion. So no change to Descent. The next skill we have is Hourglass of Defiance, one of the skills that changes the most for Succession. We have also a Succession version of it. Let me quickly showcase that. It's all Korean now, but it pretty much says you use Rupture when you teleport back, and pretty much if you use it with Arrow Assault, you would also create it. I will first showcase the Rupture because I think that's really cool. So when you place your tornado here and you're doing your stuff over here, you teleport back, you will apply the last hit of Rupture with the float in a round area around you that looks like this. As you can see, it CCs everything around you. And for all Hashashin players, most people know the Rupture last hit is massive damage. It's really nice. And if you catch people with this off guard, it's really high damage that you already applied to people before you CC them, or if you see them, it's even better. But having this as an option to CC people is really nice if you want to teleport back, or if you have people waiting on your tornado because they know you will teleport back, you can apply a CC now. Really nice change in my opinion. The next we have is Arrow Assault with Hourglass of Defiance. So what they changed about Arrow Assault, Arrow Assault is the block jump. You still have the wind up. So if you have it off cooldown, the wind up is still there. However, if you use it now, it will create like a tornado on your position, like this. It's actually a say if you have Hourglass of Defiance up, what will make the block jump wind up actually safe. That's really good. If that's the case, if that comes to life, that's really strong. Not gonna lie. You have to be careful though, like like if you see now there's no essay, but if you have the Hourglass of Defiance off cooldown and you use the block jump, your wind up seems to be actually safe. What is really strong. That's really strong. And you can back teleport then and get for the Rupture CC. Really nice change in my opinion that you create the Hourglass of Defiance. So Hourglass of Defiance is definitely a skill now that you can use way more often. It's way more reliable. You actually get damage and a CC if you have people standing into it or next to around it. You can use it way more often now because the cooldown is lowered. Even though it's only 5 seconds, that's actually huge because you can use it way more often. The duration is so if the tornado disappears, you only have 5-second cooldown on it. 5-second cooldown until you can use it again, what is really strong in my opinion. So the next skill, let's see, what do we have, is Haladi Throw. Haladi Throw is way faster, as you can see here. I don't know if I will use it. I will definitely try to use it in PvP more often because there's a low cooldown stiff catch. Increasing the activation speed of it is definitely nice. So yeah, can't wait for it and to test it out. The next skill we have is Art's Dominion. As you can see, you have the frontal guard only applied to the Prime version. And it kind of looks like that. You have the frontal guard before the hit, and the CC itself is still unsafe. To be fair, fully protected Art's Dominion would be insanely strong. I can understand why they didn't did this. So yeah, but the part where you are unprotected, if you chain this with Retriever, for example, is really small. As you can see, you have a small gap here. It's way more reliable when it comes to combos. It's way more reliable when it comes to large scale. So I definitely like that a lot. You still have a gap there. You need to be careful, but it was completely unsafe before. So yeah, that's definitely a nice change. I really like this a lot. So yeah, Prime Dual Slash lost the frontal guard, but that's, like I said, that's forever. That's only if you use it like that. No one used it like that, to be fair. Like most people just used it with the iframe into the last hit, and that there was no frontal guard applied to that anyway. So it's whatever. Let's see what next do we have. We have I think Mirage. Everything is the same. We have the passive changes here. So you have 20 passives, you get all AP every time, and then you get attack speed. You still have the 5% accuracy here, and the other passives still remain the same. So for the Rabams, the Chosen Blade, the Prosperous Blade got buff damage wise. The Mirage Assault got buff damage wise. Dominion Slash got buff damage wise. And I don't know if I will use Dominion Slash in future. I mean, with Prosperous Blade being buffed, probably not. But obviously for Succession, you can test it out. Maybe for PvE it will be better. The damage is not bad. But we have to test it when it comes live. So, if I haven't forgot anything, I think that was all about it. I will quickly talk about Awakening with those changes. Like I said, Piercing Tornado is fully usable in Awakening, what is insanely good. The passive changes, however, I think are really bad for Awakening, or let's say bad-ish if you play Evasion. If you play DR, I think the changes are actually good for Awakening Hush, because you're not reliant on your evasion rate if you play DR, and you get 7% more attack speed, what is huge in Awakening. All your SA traits, all your combos will be faster. You probably can maybe fit even a new skill or an extra skill in your combos. Having 8 more AP is not a lot, but it's a bit. So it's like 1 crystal, 1 RBF crystal somewhere, pretty much on top of on damage wise. So I think for Evasion Hush, the time is a bit like for Evasion Awakening Hush, it's a bit worse now. And for everyone that plays DR, it's a bit better. Obviously, I'm talking from a console's perspective here. So if you're Evasion PC player and you think you'll still be viable, this is definitely okay. It's just for us console people, we are missing so many things still when it comes to being reliable with Evasion only on an AP build without any Evasion accessories, that for us on console, the DR Hush will probably be more viable. With that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a like and a sub, ask questions in the description box if you want. If those changes will come live, I will do another video and see how those changes actually translate into actual gameplay, PvP, 1v1s, large scale, etc. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. I think it was much needed. Like that Sakash needed those changes. In the current meta, everyone is so protected and has so huge damage that Sakash was a bit like yeah, to the low side after the reworks, in my opinion. So those changes are absolutely justified. Can't wait until they come out. And with that being said, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.